We're now joined by a very special guest, the chairman and founder of Marico, who has written a book, Harsh Realities, in which he shares anecdotes and lessons from a unique entrepreneurial journey through the decades that saw the transformation of a family-run business into an international FMCG giant. Harsh Mariwala, it's great to have you with us. Tell us why Harsh Realities?
Well, it's a title which is a pun on my name, and it talks about my own journey, my failures, my learnings out of the failures, and a lot of nuggets of wisdom which have been provided by my co-author, Professor Ramcharan, in this. So it's, in a way, it's reality, but all of us think that our entrepreneurial journey is all smooth. We go through our own set of ups and downs and learnings, and how do we evolve as an entrepreneur. So this is an account of my own journey, and which is again made richer by Professor Ramcharan's insights. And I thought it will be very relevant to entrepreneurs, to professionals, and to students in terms of their own learning and take-home value.
Well, it's really interesting to have this book at this time because we're all living through some harsh realities in that sense in this sort of post-COVID time that we're in. For instance, we had the former Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, describing, he spoke at the 30th anniversary of economic liberalization just a few days ago. And he said that the road ahead is even more daunting than the 1991 crisis. Would you agree with that sort of assessment that, this is perhaps a particularly different time from a business and an economic standpoint?
Yeah, I think you must realize that the economy prior to pandemic also was not in the best of shape, and the pandemic added its own set of issues and problems. So today we are in a situation in terms of the economy where we have a fiscal deficit which is much higher, and we need to boost the demand, and we need to provide lives and livelihoods to the needy. So it's very important that the government comes out with a set of initiatives which will address all these issues. On top of that, the inflation also is trending a bit higher. So the government is in a tight position because the pandemic's impact is something which is beyond the government's control.
Right.
So we need to, as they say, when the going gets tough, you come out with a newer set of reforms. And that's exactly what happened in the year 1990, where we had foreign exchange problems and things like that. From that time, we've come a long way. But today we have a new set of issues which need a new set of reforms.
Well, it's important that you talk about a new set of reforms, particularly now. Right now, India is seeing the highest number of cases that it has in the last 3 weeks, and several states are once again showing an upward COVID trend. So actually, a third wave may not be too far away. Do you feel that this could actually further hamper the economy? We're at a time when the IMF has already downgraded India's growth forecast to 9.5% for the fiscal 2022 from 12.5%. Do you share this somewhat gloomy sentiment? Where do you think we're headed?
So I personally am not that pessimistic. We have learned from the first wave. We did much better as far as the business is concerned on the second wave. On the health front, of course, we faltered. But in the third wave, we are better off. On the health front also, we are better prepared. So I am not that pessimistic. I personally think that our ability to handle third wave will be much, much better. We'll have less disruptions compared to the second wave. And I'm quite optimistic that the overall economic recovery would be better than what is being projected by IMF. But a lot depends on how severe is this third wave. And again, nobody in the world knows about it. So let's wait and watch. We have to be in a high state of readiness and make the best out of the situation.
You've actually very interestingly talked about opportunities thrown up by COVID as well. What do you mean by that? And do you believe that we will continue to see advantages from these opportunities that you talk about?
See, any discontinuity, and in this case, a very big discontinuity, a pandemic, which has huge degree of, shall I say, threats. But there are huge opportunities also which have been thrown up, And I can speak on the subject for 20 minutes, but just to make it short, I'm saying that the whole digital world has changed the way we were living our lives, whether it's working from home, Zoom calls, this interview I'm doing with you, the way we service the market, e-commerce, e-consultation. So there is a whole new way of living our lives. On top of that, the overall extra attention to health, immunity, mental health is something which is very, very welcome. So I think organizations have to learn what are the positives out of the pandemic and try and leverage those opportunities. And there have been similarly many, many other opportunities depending on the kind of business you are in. There's a huge opportunity to improve your cost structure because you don't have to travel as much, you don't need that much office space. So there are lots and lots of areas where there are opportunities which have been thrown up by pandemic on a sustainable basis. I think organizations have to look at it from an opportunistic viewpoint, especially the digital whole thrust on digital, which is huge.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you talk about immunity in particular, and India is of course trying very hard to keep its vaccination targets, its very rather ambitious vaccination targets of inoculating more than 60% of the population by the end of the year. There is this concept of vaccine inequality that's being bandied about at this point, and how it's a major factor, and how developed economies are growing faster at this point on the back of vaccines and of higher stimulus. In your opinion, is the recovery of the Indian economy really going to be dependent on how soon India can vaccinate the majority of its population, as well as what the government can now do to mitigate the effect that the pandemic has already had on livelihoods?
See, you must realize that in India, based on the Sero survey which was done, I think 40% of our population, the adult population, has already had COVID. So to that extent, the need for vaccination in terms of numbers may not be as large, but still we have a big gap. So we have to vaccinate because vaccination provides double protection apart from just protection from getting COVID earlier. So vaccination is a must. I think at this stage, in the next 2-3 months, it's a question of vaccine availability. But after 2-3 months, once the availability improves, we'll have a huge problem of vaccine hesitation. And I think that's where the government will have to step in and assure people that it's very important. It is in their interest to take vaccines to protect their own health. And I hope that happens, because a lot of unnecessary negative propaganda is done by some interested parties. Don't take vaccine, you'll not be able to conceive babies and whatnot. I mean, there are multiple theories which are being talked about. But I think the government will have to overcome all those issues in terms of to ensure that the vaccine percentage increases. Because if there is a high percentage of people who are not vaccinated, they are vulnerable. They'll get COVID, and they'll again over a period of time pass it on to other people who had vaccines.
To go back to a point you made, Mr. Mariwala, the first and the second COVID waves, you said, impacted the economy in different ways, and you think there are learnings there on how to tackle a possible third COVID wave, which in your opinion may not be as bad. What are these learnings, if you'd like to summarize for us?
So I think as far as the companies are concerned, it is how do you deal with the consumer? How do you deal with the supply chain? Your factories, your distribution, if you're in physical distribution. And I think it's a completely different way of doing things, where a lot of distribution outlets were closed. We found out digital ways of reaching them through telephone, through apps. So I think we are far better prepared after going through two rounds of, or 2 waves of vaccines, 2 waves of the pandemic.
A very quick last question. Do you believe that a certain amount of negative sentiment has also set in, given the fact that there have been these successive waves, and even despite vaccination now, a third wave that we're seeing in large parts of the world, including the US and the European Union, where there are, what are known as vaccine breakthrough cases. How can that be countered?
Sorry, what is the key question? I'm not able to.
Right. I'm saying, do you believe that there is a certain amount of negative sentiment given that there is yet another COVID wave approaching, and how do we counter that?
I think I would not like to think about negative side. There is always a positive side.
Right.
And one friend of mine whom I was talking to, he's quite well known and quite informed on this area. He's saying that the third wave is going to be far more muted based on whatever he knows. But one never knows. So let's hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. And let's take it on. I think now we've learned to deal with it. We have to continue to lead a, shall I say, disciplined lifestyle. And if we do so, we'll be able to manage it, and we should not get scared. But I think at the end, before you wrap up, I just want to talk a little bit about my book.
Yes, certainly.
Because, it's a book which is written, it took some time. But all I can assure you, it's meant for entrepreneurs, it is meant for professionals, it is meant for students. It is done in the story format.
Right.
It has a lot of learnings in my own journey. It is peppered by nuggets of wisdom given by Professor Ramcharan, who has written 30 books selling something like 4 million copies. So we have a bestseller co-author. I have a bestseller co-author with me in this journey, and I hope that the Indian businessmen, entrepreneurs, professional students read this. I can assure you that they will like it in terms of the interest levels, and they will also have a lot of take-home value in terms of how they can apply the learnings from my own journey to their own lives.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Harsh Mariwala, for sharing a bit of your wisdom with us, and all the very best for the book. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Bye.